The Fed probably will be able to follow through with what it is clearly outlined for the next year or so, in your view.
Yeah, listen, this certainly maybe gives them a little pause on the first turn, because it is slowing things. And I walked through New York, Tuesday night at midnight. It's usually bustling, and it was dead quiet. And so it went from craziness to quiet in 3 days. And so it's certainly having some impact. In the short run, people are canceling vacations. But I don't think it's going to have any meaningful real impact. And so at best, it slows the Fed down a touch, which tells me going forward, we've got a lot of macro volatility.
Right. We have a lot of parts of the investment landscape that seem to have benefited in an outsized way from the Fed and from the money printing. Do you expect all those areas not to be as in favor over the next year? And do you put Bitcoin and crypto into that same area, correlated with these more speculative assets that sort of go with free money?
Certainly. Listen, part of the crypto story was free money, certainly the Bitcoin story. And so it will certainly weigh on it some. You've got to pair that with an amazing adoption cycle. I mean, Visa's now signed up 60 crypto merchants to allow crypto payments at, to their 80 million different, merchants that use them. So you're seeing this adoption cycle in such an accelerating way. There's been $30 billion of venture money coming in. And so I think that those two things are going to balance each other out. And I think most likely the Fed goes slow. If you trust what the Fed is saying, right, it's 2% over 2.5 years. That's not tight monetary policy, right? If I was the Fed governor, I think I'd be 2% right now. And so if we go with what they're telling us, it's still very loose conditions, and I think assets can still do fine.
Mike, can you see that board? Are there changes you would make? We had my Twitter feed exploded. It always does when we talk about certain things.
I would. It's strange to me that Litecoin shows up on anyone's. It's not something that people are engaged in. It's not a technology.
What should be on there? What
else? Solana, Terra Luna. Those are the cryptos that are getting the interest from the community that's building. And what we look at is who's building on things, where's the innovation, where's the development. And so I'd have Solana and Luna up there.
You can read just about any side you want on a lot of these things. One I read recently, and I don't know, he's an academic, he's supposedly really smart, says that blockchain's here to stay, but Bitcoin is so energy consuming that there will come a time where something displaces it just because of just for that fact alone. Is that possible? Do you believe
it's
that?
It's just not true. Bitcoin uses 0.12% of total energy usage. That's less than Christmas lights. We have this myth that it sucks up all this electricity because it uses as much electricity as Denmark. Well, have you ever been to Denmark? There ain't many people there. They don't use a lot of electricity. And so, listen, Bitcoin does use electricity. More and more of it's coming from green sources. 80% of the Bitcoin we mine is green, and it'll be probably 100% within a year. And so I think this is a story that our industry has to combat because it became kind of bad news, and now it seems to be taken as fact. It's just not true.
So let me ask you this: the volatility. So it was, I don't know, up 66% from the beginning of the year, down 30% from the highs. People love the gains. Most people that bought early are obviously still doing well. People that bought in the mid 60s are not doing as well. Do you expect institutional adoption to lessen the price moves that we see in the volatility? And if so, or the people that buy it because they think it's going to 500,000, does it make them less enamored of it? And does it become more useful as a possible currency, or as using it for transactions? What's going to happen?
Listen, I do think volatility, certainly in Bitcoin, is coming down. If you look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus what they call the other altcoins, Bitcoin vol is much lower. And that's because a lot of the guys looking for big gains say, well, I'm not going to find it like I did in Bitcoin, so I'm going to, the new coin of the month. And so that is going to continue, I think, as institutions come and we're seeing less volatility. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think Bitcoin becomes a transactional currency. I think it is literally tailor-made to be a store of value. There's other people that will disagree with me. There's a thing called the Lightning Network, which allows transactions at a much lower cost. But I see Bitcoin really being digital gold in people's wallet. And in parts of the world where the inflation is really high, it feels essential. In parts of the world where inflation is high, but not screamingly high, something like the US, it is a very nice hedge against the debasement of currencies. And it's working, and it continues to work. The rest of the crypto world has very different use cases. And I think using Ethereum and seeing Ethereum as a technology play is really what's gotten the world excited this year. People realize stuff are going to be built on blockchains, like, the NBA Top Shot project, or what we're doing at Candy with Major League Baseball.